This video that came out, North Star Radio, also known as Comrade Casey, put out this video titled Ethan Klein and the Rise of Liberal Islamophobia, and I kind of wanted to watch it. I kind of feel like Casey knows how to cook. Comrade Casey, more like Cook Casey, more like Chef Casey. Let's see it, shall we?
But Israel is really crazy. They figure out ways to prevent this stuff. Like, the stabbing was happening for a few months, and now it doesn't really happen so much. And I don't even know how,
Yeah,
but they have like their secret ways.
אין חשמל, אין מזון, אין מים, אין דלק. הכל סגור.
Yaov, really good guy, gallant. No electricity, no food, no water. We are fighting human animals.
נלחמים בחיות אדם.
We are acting accordingly.
When you talk about privilege, let's talk about someone who's going to UC Berkeley, paid by their parents $200,000 tuition on campus protesting Israel. Do you find that ironic?
I personally think it's so ironic. It's just like, I don't know, it's kids sitting here in like beautiful California criticizing, like, you don't even know what you're talking about.
What we're seeing now at Columbia, and I don't use this.
Kids sitting here in beautiful California. Why is Hila being anti-Semitic by suggesting that there are other places in the world that aren't beautiful like California is?
Word lightly. We're not seeing ideological war. We're not seeing support for terrorism. We are seeing terrorism.
When I grew up, I couldn't really take a bus. I was afraid of blowing up.
Right.
And now it doesn't really happen. So the wall did help. So should we not have a wall?
Since the events of October 7 and the ongoing disproportionate retaliation by the Israeli state, both Islamophobia as well as anti-Semitism have been on the rise in the United States.
And the Palestinians are taught to kill us at 2 years old!
That's pretty spicy.
Yeah.
Do we have that
I
one?
mean,
I don't understand.
2-year-old Palestinian terror babies. Okay.
Why left-leaning media, which is mostly Jewish, are calling people white supremacists, dude.
Jewish. Did you just say that?
Yeah, I just don't understand.
Left-wing media is mostly Jewish?
In order for Israel to maintain their system of apartheid and to justify their inhumane actions in Gaza, Islamophobia is quite obviously ingrained in Israeli society and Israeli politics. However, by associating itself and its actions with the religion of Judaism, falsely claiming to be acting on the wishes of the Jewish diaspora, Israel, ironically, is also perpetuating anti-Semitism. And that is 100% by design.
They are vehemently against not only Israel, not only the Jewish students. Anti-Semitism is unquestionably a problem at the universities, but it goes significantly beyond that. These are protesters who are being influenced by outside organizations. The Islamic Republic of Iran is thanking them for their work. They are giving permission to these terrorists.
Overnight, the U.S. House passed a bill 32291 in a group of overnight
for their being influenced by outside organizations. The Islamic Republic of Iran is thanking them for their work. They are giving permission to these terrorists.
Overnight.
That person was talking about pro-Palestinian rallies at universities. And she said they are giving permission to these terrorists. Yes, the brave American college students are giving permission to terrorists to do what they want. I didn't know college students had the power to give permission for that. From my understanding, it's really only the U.S. that gives permission to other countries to do terrorism. Nobody else has really given any permission to do terrorism. But I guess you learn something new every day. They needed a permission slip. But I guess the college students gave it to them, yeah.
Tonight, the U.S. House passed a bill 32291, and a group of representatives say they want to protect their Jewish constituents. And the bill would essentially make it easier for the Department of Education to enforce anti-discrimination laws at public institutions.
This bill would require the Department of Education to use the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance's definition of anti-Semitism, denying the Jewish people their right to self-determination by claiming that the existence of a state of Israel is a racist endeavor.
Anti-Semitism is an ancient form of bigotry, but since the creation of Israel for the past 80 years or so, it's been used
When you're at the point where you're saying you are God's chosen people, and that's why you have the right to murder and displace hundreds of thousands or millions of other people, what are we talking about here, man? At that point, that is a fascistic, racist endeavor. If you need to execute or displace hundreds of thousands or millions of people, so that some guy from Brooklyn can live in Jerusalem, I don't know what else to tell you. Like, that's just manifest destiny, but with a couple extra words in it. Huh? The end does not justify the means, dude. If the end goal is a state for the Jewish people, okay, surely there's a way to get that without killing and displacing hundreds of thousands or millions of people.
as a tool for the growth and continuation of Israel's existence. And no, this isn't some conspiracy theory. Israel quite obviously wants more anti-Semitism in the world in order to justify its Zionist project. And by continuing their atrocious actions in Gaza and the West Bank, while wearing symbols representative of Judaism and claiming to be acting on the basis of Judaism, they guarantee the continuation, if not escalation, of global anti-Semitism.
The anti-Semitic decision of the International Court in The Hague is a modern Dreyfus trial.
Oh, bye, Joel. That's very funny. That is very funny. It's also really funny how many people just like have no idea all of the fucked up shit that Israel has done to help justify its cleansing of the Palestinians from their holy land.
And it will end the same way. The decision...
And if anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about the countless instances of false acts of terrorism against Jews in the Middle East that were orchestrated by Israel. I'm trying to find the was it this one? I'm gonna find it 1 second.
To issue an arrest warrant against me, the democratically elected Prime Minister of the State of Israel, and our former defense minister, was made by a rogue prosecutor who's trying to extricate himself from sexual harassment charges, and by biased judges who are motivated by anti-Semitic sentiments against the one and only Jewish state.
Sleek and stylish in this wool blend, Najiba is hot, hot, hot. It's a look that screams, look out world, I'm a woman of the 12th century.
Islamophobia is also an ancient form of bigotry, and although its existence in the United States was prominent before, Islamophobia's use as a tool for manufactured consent reached its cultural climax.
Sorry, I was muted. This is one of many instances of Israel conducting very morally gray actions. The Lavon affair, it was a failed Israeli covert operation conducted in Egypt in the summer of 1954 as part of a false flag operation. A group of Egyptian Jews were recruited by Israeli military intelligence to plant bombs inside of Egyptian, American, and British-owned civilian targets, cinemas, libraries, and American educational centers. The bombs were timed to detonate several hours after closing time, and then the attacks were to be blamed on the Muslim Brotherhood, with the aim of creating a climate of sufficient violence and instability to induce the British government to retain its occupying troops in Egypt's Suez Canal zone. You ever be the state of Israel and conduct false flag operation after false flag operation to try and blame things on the evil Muslims to justify your active genocide?
After the Sydney Sweeney story, I just can't imagine why some women would be okay with covering themselves up in such a toxic patriarchy.
Such a mystery. Such a mystery. Oh, is it? I think this one was also. Yeah. There was also this one, the 1950 and 1951 Baghdad bombings, were a series of bombings of Jewish targets in Baghdad, Iraq, between April 1950 and June 1951. Two activists in the Iraqi Zionist underground were found guilty by an Iraqi court for a number of the bombings and were sentenced to death. Another was sentenced to life imprisonment, and 17 more were given long prison sentences. The allegations against Israeli agents had wide consensus among Iraqi Jews in Israel. Many of the Iraqi Jews in Israel who lived in poor condition blamed their ills and misfortunes on the Israeli Zionist emissaries or Iraqi Zionist underground movement. The theory that, quote, certain Jews carried out the attacks in order to focus the attention of the Israel government on the plight of the Jews was viewed as more plausible than most. Telegrams between the Mossad agents in Baghdad and their superiors in Tel Aviv give the impression that neither group knew who was responsible for the act. Israeli involvement has been consistently denied by the Israeli government, including by a Mossad-led internal inquiry, even following the 2005 admission of the Lavon affair. Those who assign responsibility for the bombings to an Israeli or Iraqi Zionist underground movement suggest that the motive was to encourage Iraqi Jews to immigrate to Israel as part of the ongoing Operation Ezra and Nehemiah. Those historians have raised questions regarding the guilt of the convicted Iraqi Zionist agents with respect to the bombings. Note that by January 1951, nearly 86,000 Jews had already registered to immigrate. Well, if the Mossad internal investigation says it's true, it must be true. Yeah. Don't worry, they investigated themselves and found no wrongdoing. It's okay. It's all good.
Max more recently, specifically after 9/11.
You're saying that Islamophobia is not a real thing. That if you're critical of something,
well, it's not a real thing when we do it.
Right.
Well, no,
it really isn't.
I'm not denying that certain people are bigoted against Muslims as people. And that's a problem.
Big of you.
But
why are you so hostile about this?
It's gross. It's racist.
We have to be able to criticize bad ideas.
Wait, what's this tweet on the screen? The problem of anti-Semitism in Europe is mostly coming from the Muslim community and the far left. It's still a fringe phenomenon in the U.S. Though that could change. Everybody knows that Nazis and Hitler specifically famously was a Muslim, was a Muslim person. Yeah. You guys have never seen like that one video of Hitler being like, Allahu Akbar? Yes. Yes, correct. Yes. I don't know how to explain this to you guys. He was a far left Muslim who was trying to kill the Jews. Everyone knows Hitler was a far left Muslim. That's well-known Muslim leftist Adolf Hitler. What the fuck? What the fuck? The mental gymnastics are crazy here. The mental gymnastics are so insane, dude. I'm sorry. I don't know how to tell you this, but it was and is currently predominantly white Catholics in Europe that engaged in and are currently still engaging in anti-Semitism. In Europe? I'm not claiming that there's no anti-Semitism in the Middle East. No, that's ridiculous. I personally think that Israel's actions and Israel's bombings of its neighboring countries have led to an even higher rate of anti-Semitism. And I definitely believe that there is, at this point, a lot of anti-Semitic beliefs among the people who live in Palestine. I think a big part of it was caused by the fact that, these people are having their schools bombed, their homes bombed, their hospitals bombed by the country, by the state that calls itself the home for the Jewish people. Doesn't mean it's okay. It's obviously not okay. I'm claiming that a lot of the anti-Semitic beliefs that probably have become popularized at this point in time in the Middle East have had a spike because of Israel's actions, because of Israel's wrongful bombings and killings of so many people, while claiming that they are the country for Jewish people. Getting an ad for an ad blocker, specifically advertising that it blocks ads on Twitch, is interesting on a channel that doesn't have ads, which is crazy. If I didn't know any better, I would think that Zionism and Judaism were the same because Israel is the one pushing that false idea. I mean, yes, Israel literally is, their whole shtick is just saying that they are the home for Jews. But to claim that the anti-Semitism in Europe is caused by the far left and by the Muslims is crazy when Europe literally had Hitler. I don't even know what to say about that. Like, that's insane to me. That's crazy to me.
But why are you so hostile about this?
It's gross. It's racist.
We have to be able to criticize bad ideas. And
of course we do. No liberal doesn't want to criticize bad ideas.
But Islam at this moment is the motherlode of bad ideas.
Jesus.
So we have
9/11 was a major turning point in the United States. The 90s were almost seen as the end of America's global fight against evil. The USSR was far behind us, and the United States didn't have a major adversary that they could villainize for their own self-interest. So in August of 2001, when George Bush was briefed by the CIA about credible threats of plane hijackings, it was the perfect opportunity for manufacturing consent. And that opportunity became reality on September 11th.
Today, our fellow citizens.
With everyone in chat saying respect for Ben Affleck. To get on TV, to get on anything public as one of the biggest actors, and defend Muslim people and defend Islam in front of an American audience, it doesn't get more Chad than that. How many of you guys have seen that entire segment between Sam Harris and Ben Affleck? One, if you've seen it. Two, if you have not seen it. One, if you saw it. Two, if you did not. Oh, so a lot of people haven't. I've seen like a little bit of it, but I've never seen the whole thing. I would be down to watch that whole thing after this. And he was risking his Batman career over it at the time. Yeah.
Our way of life.
It was 10 years ago, to be clear, chat. I'm stupid. Who is Sam Harris again? Sam Harris is like the atheist fuck who only ever spends his time criticizing Islam and calling the religion like the most evil, shitty religion, which is just such a, it's just so stupid because it's such a misunderstanding of Islam and such a misunderstanding of like Abrahamic religions. Like, dog, it's all based off the same source material. Okay? I don't know how to tell you this, but like the Bible and the Quran, they are just spin-off series off the Old Testament, what, like the Torah. Like, that's just, it's all from the same base lore, dude. If you have problems with that one, you should have problems, or as many problems, with the Bible. The amount of fucked up shit that's in the Bible, in the New Testament. The New Testament literally says you can beat your slaves. Can you imagine being like, there's nothing bad in the Bible. Okay, there's nothing bad in the New Testament. Okay, what do you mean? There's nothing bad? Huh? That's not real. They were God was joking when he said that. He was joking. It's obviously a joke. Okay, God is very funny. Unlike Allah, God is very funny, and he was joking when he said you could beat your slaves. New Testament Jesus says that slaves should obey their master. Do supply side Jesus, dude. Supply side Jesus.
Very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts. I've directed the full resources of our intelligence and law enforcement communities to find those responsible and to bring them to justice. We will make no distinction between the terrorists who committed these acts and those who harbored them.
For the next
present day, Islam is having a far more negative impact on the world than Christianity. This is obvious. Okay, let's say I agree with you. Why do you think that is? Let's go on this ride with you. Why do you think that is?
Next 2 decades and counting, the United States would use this day to not only justify their actions in Iraq, but to justify any sort of potential war crimes inflicted on an Arab or Muslim population.
The 9/11 attacks were carried out by Al-Qaeda, an organization headed by Osama Bin Laden, which had openly declared war on the United States and was committed to killing innocents in our country and around the globe. And so we went to war against Al-Qaeda to protect our citizens, our friends, and our allies.
And 9/11 was only the catalyst. Growing up in the United States post 9/11, I was surrounded by subtle yet quite obvious in retrospect anti-Arab propaganda. 2013 saw the release of World War Z, a zombie apocalypse movie, where at the movie's climax, we see a mob of zombies scaling the walls surrounding Jerusalem and attacking the civilians taking refuge. And who's on the other side of that wall in real life? Palestinians. This movie literally illustrates Palestinians as blood-hungry zombies. 2014 saw the release of American Sniper, a film following U.S. Navy SEAL Chris Kyle and his deployment in Iraq and then New Orleans.
He then later said that when he got back home, that he was on top of the Superdome and he shot over 30 looters during Hurricane Katrina. What a preposterous lie. How stupid are you if you believe that?
Throughout the film, he's seen as both a hero of America's freedom, as well as a victim of our own actions, almost making it seem like we had to be in Iraq, but it was still a sad situation. God, I love neoliberalism. And what was happening during the release of this movie? The United States was propping up and funding
Yeah, W literally called the Iraq war a holy war. Yes.
groups in the Syrian civil war to overthrow President Bashar al-Assad. And whoops, we just created ISIS. We also grew up with master works like Captain Phillips, where Somali pirates are given zero humanization or explanation for why they're hijacking ships, the only explanation being they're just a bunch of crazy Arabs. Or the beautifully innocent movies of Sacha Baron Cohen, a British man who's made an entire career off of perpetuating dehumanizing anti-Arab stereotypes.
In my country, we have KFC, Kazakh fried cat.
These associations in our media create an anti-Arab bias in the minds of its audience. But where those biases are confirmed is when these victims of American imperialism reach a point of retaliation, like the events of October 7th.
It's so messed up because, like, Sacha Cohen Baron used to do, Baron Cohen? He had a lot of stuff that he did that was, like, actually based as shit, like making fun of American politicians for being pro-gun. Right? Or, I mean, we watched some of it. He tricks congressmen and representatives screaming the N-word. Like, oh my God. Like, to get a congressperson on camera and be like, what's the word you can never say? What is the one? It starts with an N. What's the word you never say? And the fucking, this white representative just screams the N-word with the hard R. And he's like, huh? No, it's nuclear. Like, beautiful. Cinema. That was his show, Who is America? Yes. And then and then he became just like lowest common denominator, just like, I'm going to make fun of the dirty, dumb Arabs and anything that even remotely resembles Arabs. Like the people from Kazakhstan. It's like, okay. Okay. I wonder how the people of Kazakhstan felt about your movies, sir. I'm sure they thought it was very funny, right? I'm sure they thought it was, okay.
Today, the people of Israel are under attack. In this moment of tragedy, I want to say to them and to the world and to terrorists everywhere, the United States stands with Israel. I got up this morning and started this at 7:30, 8 o'clock, my calls. Hamas terrorists crossing in Israel, killing not only Israeli soldiers, but Israeli civilians. Entire families taken hostage by Hamas. Just days after Israel marked the holiest of days in the Jewish calendar. It's unconscionable.
For the past year, ever since October 7, 2023, Islamophobia has seen a resurgence in American media. Palestinians are described as terrorists who have a hidden desire to unalive Jewish people from a young age.
Rudy was saying that Palestinians are taught at 2 years old to kill Americans.
That's pretty spicy.
Yeah.
Do we have that one?
mean,
Like
Put that
Kamala.
under the other one.
I could add it.
And those who support the people of Palestine are labeled anti-Semites or even terrorists themselves.
What we're seeing now at Columbia, and I don't use this word lightly, we're not seeing ideological war. We're not seeing support for terrorism. We are seeing terrorism.
And what it was literally a vigil for terrorists. Now, I was on the University of Washington campus last week when they had this big rally, this big march for Hamas, when they were literally chanting, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. And they mean free of Jews. They want all Jews out of the land. I had people literally tell me to my face that they were celebrating the fact that babies had their heads cut off.
Not Ari Hoffman, dude. Not this guy.
There's nobody
Not Timu Alex Jones, dude. No.
on the entire platform to call him out. Nobody. They've all been banned. Nobody. There's
Guys, this chatter never responded. Sir, you have to respond when I ask you a chat message. That's the secret third rule of this chat. If you send a message in this chat, if you're a chatter and I ask you a question, you legally have to reply. You said this statement, I mean, in the present day, Islam is having a far more negative impact than Christianity. This is obvious. I asked you, why do you think that is? You have to respond. Hellfire 1010, you have to respond. If you don't respond in the next 5 minutes, I will have to take action. Respond.
Not a single dissenting voice with his straight up radical, anti-American, anti-Semitic, pro-China, pro-Russia, pro-terrorism takes. This is fringe, psychotic shit that is not normal.
Anti-Semitism, however, has also been on the rise since October 7th, thanks to Israel's undying ability to associate its war crimes with the religion of Judaism. A religion, by the way, that is fundamentally built on peace and the idea of loving thy neighbor as thyself.
My Jewish values teach me to oppose apartheid.
Now, the reason I've decided to make this video is not simply to analyze the growth of both Islamophobia and anti-Semitism. The way politics is today, political analysis becomes significantly more interesting and easier to understand when discussed in the context of internet drama. In fact, this OG YouTuber has built an empire, a dying empire, off.
Not a dying empire. Not the dying empire. Oof. Oh. Hold up.
Off of. This OG YouTuber has built an empire, a dying.
Oh. Oof. I see you're going goblin mode. Man. Let's see here. Olivia explains Selena Gomez drama, April 5th, 2023. Ethan debates Pearl Davis. That was so sick, dude. The Ethan Klein Pearly Things debate. That was the second big spike of the past 2 years. Colleen Ballinger PowerPoint. Oh man, Colleen Ballinger ukulele, so iconic. That was the third biggest point. And then this is the first show after the Leftovers finale on October 16th, right here. Cam leaves the show here. They rebranded to H3 show over here. Sam leaves the show at this point. Addressing Hassan happens at this point. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. I mean, you said even if you agree with me, which means you do to some degree. No, that's not what that means. That means I'm willing to engage in the hypothetical despite you not providing any evidence, because I would like you to question why you think this is happening. I'm in caffeine withdrawal. Why are you talking about caffeine like it's heroin? That just means you're a little bit tired. Huh? Not being pulled into a debate. I'm not defending Christianity. I never said you were defending Christianity. Just if one was completely eliminated from the world, it would be better if it was Islam, IMO. Doug, what are you talking about? I didn't ask you if one was completely eliminated, which one would you like it to be? I asked you, why do you think it is that Islam is worse than Christianity, has a more negative impact? I just asked you to elaborate, huh? You presented a statement that you believe to be true. I said, for the sake of understanding why you believe this, I will go along with your statement. I don't agree that Islam is having a far more negative impact in the world than Christianity. I don't agree. But I wanted you to elaborate, not do any of these things. And this is what people mean when they say that Islamophobia is significantly more acceptable and palatable in the world. If you said that, like, if you had to pick something to be eliminated, I guess I would pick Christians, or I guess I would pick not Christians or Islam, everyone would call you out immediately and be like, that's really weird for you to say that. You can just, if you replace Islam here with Judaism, that would be very clearly anti-Semitic. This is what people are talking about when they say that Islamophobia is significantly more palatable and acceptable. You're allowed to do as according to most platforms, Twitch included, you're allowed to do as much Islamophobia as you want, so long as you never get to Asmongold territory, but you are not allowed to get anywhere near that same level for any other group of people. You'd be perma-banned if you said this about, honestly, probably Christianity or Judaism. Which I think, yeah, probably you should be banned if you're suggesting that a religion is completely evil and the world would be better off without it. I think that that seems weird. And I think that that is fundamentally different from saying, actually, the world would be better without any religion. Because at that point, you're just like an R-atheist, whatever. But if you're pointing at one particular religion and saying the world would be better off without that particular religion, it's interesting that you can say Islam and it's totally okay. And people just don't bat an eye. Really? Maybe because of where I'm from, shitting on Christianity is not controversial. I mean, Americans had a whole, like, war on Christmas section. No, I don't mind what people believe in, as long as they don't force their views on people generally. Question, where are you from? I have a question. Hellfire, where are you from? Where do you live? US, Europe, Asia, Australia, Africa, US. Now, maybe I just speak for myself. But I have been accosted by churchgoers and Jehovah's Witnesses a good deal. I have never heard of or been accosted by any Muslim people trying to get me to convert. Have you personally gotten accosted by Muslim people trying to get you to convert? Because I'm pretty sure the group that does that the most is Christians. i.e. the whole missionaries thing. That's why a lot of Americans have had experiences with Mormons showing up at their door trying to get them to convert. With Jehovah's Witnesses showing up at their door trying to get them to convert. If your whole thing is being against people forcing their views on other people, you should be significantly more against Christianity. Christianity is a big reason why Roe v. Wade was overturned. I've never had a Muslim person knock on my door and ask me to join LOL. LOL. I've never heard Muslim people screaming on the street corners like Christians do. My Muslim neighbors did invite me to their wedding, but just because we were their neighbors, literally some of the kindest people ever. The one instance where Muslim people will accost you is when they make too much food because it is an Arab staple. Not that all Muslim people are Arab, but a lot of Arab people are Muslim, and a lot of Muslim people are Arab. They will cook in portions that are unacceptable. Let's say that. Arab people especially, they only cook enough food for 10,000 people. And that is usually when you will be the most accosted by Muslim people. If you have a Muslim neighbor, they will bring you lots of food because they only make food by the buckets. And it's good food. So, like, you won't see me fucking. You want to be living next to them during Ramadan as well? My next door neighbors are Arab. Literally every once in a while, they'll just randomly bring me food. Yeah. Well, they hate seeing food get wasted and they only make food in these large amounts. I don't know why. Well, I was going to say Muslims have only ever tried to force food on me. And it's not like, let me bother you. This food is just like Mom Bailey type of situation. I'm trying to like coax you in. It's not bait. It's literally just, here you go. And unfortunately, it would appear that my parents have given me the same brainworms on this front, which is why I now am the person that's showing up at people's doors and calling them at 8 p.m. being like, do you want like 5 or 7 creme brulees? Because I'm already driving to your place. No. I had one person be like, I'm sorry, I can't hang out. I was like, I'm tired. I was standing for 5 hours. I don't want to hang out at 9 p.m. This is purely transactional. I have this extra food that I can't eat. You will take it. And then I will leave. I would like to not hang out, actually. Just need you to take this. Can we agree to this? Yes? Excellent. Wonderful. All right, good. Caroline receiving bread in the middle of the stream. Yeah. Literally just texting Caroline, I have cinnamon buns and sticky buns. Do you want now? Get all in all caps. Yes. She like literally just opens the door. Here you go. Okay, good luck. Enjoy the rest of your stream. All right, go home. Oh God. I also think it's more of like a MENA thing, not just Muslim people. That's true. Yes, that's actually true because I do know some Arab Christian friends of mine, and their families are the same way. So it is a big MENA thing. But a lot of Arab people are Muslim, and a big portion of the MENA region is Muslim. So sometimes I interchange the words a little bit. Anyways, I would like to implore people, for your own benefit, if you feel that Islam is more evil or more bad or has a worse impact on the world than Christianity does, I implore you to reconsider how Islam has negatively impacted your life, or really anyone's life that you know of, and then see how Christianity has impacted your life and other people's lives. Because I think when you take a deeper look in, you'll notice that it really hasn't. Filipino side of my family's the same. You'll get sent home with way too much food. It's always in a reused sour cream container. Yes, the reused sour cream containers. Oh my God, dude. Sour cream isn't really used in a lot of Arab cuisine, but it's usually like pickle jars and olive jars get reused a lot. That's the go-to. The jars. They love those jars, dude. If you can't buy food, it's for free. This is gift from Allah. Yeah. Lebanon containers? Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true.
Empire off of internet drama. This OG YouTuber, famous for his
What the fuck? This chatter got like perma destroyed. Account suspended or deactivated. Damn. He reconsidered life. Shit.
His appearances in blackface, brownface, whiteface, and poopface has more recently become famous for spewing
What did I just watch? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention at all. And then suddenly I was getting a lot of images on my screen.
when discussed in the context of internet drama. In fact, this OG YouTuber has built an empire, a dying empire, off of internet drama. This OG YouTuber, famous for his appearances in blackface, brownface, whiteface, and poopface, has more recently become famous for spewing on the daily both Islamophobic and anti-Semitic rhetoric.
Fresh criticism for Hassan, who is an outright supporter of terrorism, quite literally. He is a champion for terrorism and a supporter of terrorism. And if you don't believe me, watch the video.
Now, there's a lot of details I could get into regarding Ethan's racist crash out, but I'll save that for a future video. What I really want to focus on today is this tweet and the context of this tweet by Hassan Piker.
My former podcast co-host misunderstood me when I said in America that anti-Semitism is institutionally unacceptable, but Islamophobia is permitted if not encouraged. Yesterday, he proved my point.
Ethan has a long history of Islamophobia, stretching all the way back to his time in Israel. Go figure. Like when Ethan and Hila visited an Arab village, and Ethan was afraid of the call to prayer.
Hila, are you sure we're going the right way? Hila,
This is like actually straight up one of the most racist things that he's done. I'm not going to sit here and like grade. I'm not going to make like a tier list of the most to least to most racist things Ethan Klein has ever done, because he's done a lot of them. But this one is like it's up there. It's up
Does
there.
she doubt her own ethics?
It's up there. Like, call to prayer is literally the equivalent of church bells. It is the equivalent of church bells. That's it. It's just telling people, hey, it's time to pray. Either come to the mosque, the masjid, and pray, or pray at home. It is now time. There are 5 prayers in a day. There is 5 calls to prayer in a day. That's the only purpose that it serves. And the only thing that the guy is saying on the speaker is Allahu Akbar, which is just God is great. That's it. That's all that's being said. No, she's not normal. She's not normal, unfortunately. Yeah. To be fair, me as a child, being way too dank IRL, whenever the Turkish call to prayer sounded like a real memory that played so loud. Yeah, they are very loud. In the same way that church bells can be very loud. But it's also like a, there is a large Muslim population, so it makes sense for it to be loud. It's supposed to be loud enough that most of the houses nearby can hear it.
are we going the right way?
I'm hoping so. Yeah, no. I don't know, we just need to find the water.
You know what they say? Follow the Allah Akbars.
Or when Ethan said Arab Muslims have an inclination towards committing acts of violence.
I do, on the other hand, acknowledge that, like, I think per capita, a lot of the weird fucking terrorism and crimes and shit, I mean, there's definitely some strong thread of violence through the Muslim community.
Yeah.
Or Arab Muslims, to be more specific.
Or when Hila said the wall between Israel and the West Bank had to be built and was proven effective.
They built a wall, and Israel should be a one state with Palestinians and Israel's all living together. They should reduce the borders and remove the gate. That to me seems like super ignorant.
It is, because when I grew up, I couldn't really take a bus. I was afraid of blowing up.
Right.
And now it doesn't really happen. So the wall did help. There's still a lot of other ways. There's tunnels and, you know.
Yeah, rockets.
Yeah.
When Hila was a kid, there was no wall around Greater Israel that blocked out the West Bank and Gaza. And it was like, I remember in the newspaper when you were growing up, almost daily, right?
Not
Suicide
daily,
bombs
but it was
weekly.
happening a lot, and it was
Terrifying, yeah.
In cafes, shopping malls.
He's so bad at forming sentences. Once you notice it, you can't unsee it. I mean, the dude had a wiping the past minute button on his show. Sean, thank you so much for the 10 gift subs. Thank you. Thank you, Sean. IOP, thanks. Also, Adam, thank you for the tier 1. Alone, thank you. Alien, thank you so much for the 5 months. Imagnu, thank you for the prime. Easy pronounce time, thank you for 12 months. Limbo Trace, thank you for the gift sub. I think that's everyone. Thank you guys.
Buses. And it was just
A
like,
what button? For those of you guys who don't know, he had a button on his show that he would press that would wipe the last minute of the show. For when he had a mess up. For when he had an oopsie on his live stream. And the worst part about it is like, I don't even necessarily think that that is inherently a bad idea when you run a podcast that brings random guests on. Because when you bring a guest on, you have no idea, especially if you're bringing a crazy guest on, you have no idea what they're going to say. Like, you could bring a guest on and then they just decide, like, as a joke, they're going to scream the N-word. Like, what the fuck? Oh my God. CuteBot has that? Yeah. It's just, you don't know what guests will do when they're on your show. And you wouldn't want your show to get permabanned or demonetized or whatever, because you're trying to run a fun show and you bring on fun guests, and sometimes those fun guests are also crazy. But when the button is because you as the host can't fucking control yourself, when the button isn't even for the guest, it's for you, the host. What are we talking about here, dude? What are we talking about? Was the button a joke or did it actually delete recording? No, it wasn't a joke. Basically, it would just like, the show runs on like a delay. And if something was on the show that Ethan decided, actually, no, wait, I don't want people to see that, he would press the button and then it would just show like a screen being like, sorry, the stream is not available right now. And I'm just going to say, if you think it was a Tourette's button, first of all, we are big, sweet Anita enjoyers here. Okay? All right. Huge, sweet Anita enjoyers here. And I think if you do want to watch content from someone who doesn't need a button and has Tourette's, you can watch Sweet Anita. And she talks about it and she explains her experience with Tourette's and her verbal tics and her physical tics and everything like that. Second, you're either unaware or you're actively ignoring the instances where he was like, I don't want to say caught using the button, but what he was caught using the button for. One of which was berating his employees, which is not a symptom of Tourette's. Tourette's doesn't make you an asshole. Also, I'm not sure, but some people in chat are saying that his Tourette's doesn't manifest in verbal tics, which from my understanding is correct. He has physical tics, which, I mean, if there's anyone in here who is offended by that, like, you're in the wrong place. I don't think that there's anyone in here that thinks that. But even if he did have verbal tics, there's a huge difference between having Tourette's and having verbal tics and just being a huge asshole. And I think it would be very offensive to people with Tourette's to suggest that they can't stop themselves from being an asshole to the people around them. That seems wild. Sunspots, thank you for the prime. Strum Dog, thank you for the 2 months. Gremlo, hey, thank you for the 26 months. How's it going? So yeah.
a slaughter. It was just a slaughter. And so they're like, oh, let's build a fucking wall then. And lo and behold, no more suicide bombs. And my whole time there, my whole 5 years living there, there was like one failed,
attempt,
shitty attempt.
You know, the list goes on.
You told me once you went on like a mission with them to like a terrorist city.
But these clips are all quite old. And for a while there, Ethan
Terrorist
was able
city,
to
Ramallah.
hide any of his own Islamophobia. Yet when October 7 took place, Ethan Klein's Islamophobic tendencies came to the forefront.
I find it incredible that people think that Hamas is going to take over all of Israel and happily coexist with Israelis. If there's a state of Palestine, it makes sense. But if you're in one state, all that's going to happen is like everybody is trying to bring as many people there as possible. And like by the time there frankly are a lot of Palestinians, right, in the area. And once the Palestinians outnumber the Jews, basically anything is fair game for the Jews. Anything. Oh, it's going to be a secular country? You mean Hamas, the Islamic fundamentalist group, is going to come out and do a secular country? What the are you talking about? I feel like people are so deluded. They'll look at something like From the River to the Sea and be like, oh no, that doesn't mean that they want to, they just want to create a secular state and peacefully live with Israelis. By the way, segregation is not real. There's 20% of the population in Israel is Palestinian, full citizens, integrated in all levels of work.
And over time, he played victim, claiming that people calling him a Zionist are being anti-Semitic. Ironically, an anti-Semitic statement in and of itself, but I'll get to that in a bit.
That's my problem, is that people, they're watching with the expectation, they're looking for any little nugget to get indignant over and to call me a Zionist. If you call me a Zionist, you're anti-Semite. You know why? Because I'm not a fucking Zionist, and I've made that exactly profoundly, deeply clear. So when you see someone on Twitter, when you see someone in the audience calling me a Zionist, what they're calling me is a fucking Jew.
And this whole Zionism.
What does the text say? That you can be racist even if you don't categorize yourself as such. If you say things Zionists say, people are going to call you a Zionist.
Someone in the audience
Yes, correct.
calling me a Zionist, what they're calling me is a fucking Jew.
And this whole Zionism thing is just so fucked up. It's basically a purity test on Jews. You got to be, are you a good Jew or a bad Jew? So in what world is that normal to be like, sorry, no Zionists, death to Zionists? So, you know, you go to all these campuses, no Zionists allowed. So they're saying, are you a good Jew or are you a bad Jew? That's the conversation. And again, I emphasize this because I don't think people appreciate it, but 90% of the world's Jews would be considered Zionist.
For the most part,
That's anti-Semitic to say that. I love pretending to be like a bastion against anti-Semitism, and then proceeding to say some of the most anti-Semitic shit possible. Quick, hit the button.
Ethan didn't mention Hassan once, or vice versa, for the past year. And although Ethan decided to end leftovers, and thus end any discussion regarding Israel-Palestine, the topic did still make its way into an episode here and there. And it was still quite clear that Ethan and Hila had some difficulty with the topic. But it wasn't until the day of our Holy Lord, September 11th, 2024, when Ethan Klein decided to go on a full-on spite-driven and seemingly Islamophobic crusade against Hassan and anyone associated with Hassan, more often than not people who are pro-Palestine. Why did he all of a sudden decide to go on this deplatforming campaign against pro-Palestinian streamers, many of whom are Arab themselves? Simple. They were promoting terrorism and simping for Osama Bin Laden.
My friends, it's so good to see you again. Happy Friday to all of my
Happy Friday.
to all my beloved audience members, to my crew, to my beautiful wife, to my dogs. TGIF. I want to talk about my beef with Bin Laden.
Okay. Okay.
Now, I made the brave assertion on Instagram, and again, this stems from these TikTok people who are like being like simping for Bin Laden because he was anti-American and failed to read the rest of his manifesto
in which he said specifically, the reason I did this attack is because you're all gay Jews who aren't Muslims doing Sharia law, and also you give loans. I saw this tweet, and it had, and this moment, it got even more, but it had 160,000 likes, 9 million views. So there's a lot of people on Twitter who are like, yeah, this guy's onto something. Do Americans actually know why Bin Laden did all that? Or do they believe he hated that they can vote or something? And what's interesting to me is that when I actually read his writings and learned about it, it occurred to me that, like, holy shit, that is kind of why he hates us. He did quite literally hate Americans because they could vote and had freedoms. He specifically states in his writings the reasons: homosexuality, lack of Sharia law, drug use, lending of money, and letting Jews run the country, or the world, frankly. Please read his writings before regurgitating tanky talking points and running defense for a mass-murdering, homophobic, anti-Semitic piece of shit. Fuck Bin Laden. Anyone trying to rewrite history?
Yeah, I mean, if I want to extend a little bit of grace to some of these people that, you know, I'm assuming have not actually taken the time to fully read his manifesto or his writings or whatever, you know, there are parts of it where he's critiquing, you know, U.S. imperialism and messing with countries in the Middle East, like you said. And it can come across as like, okay, he's making some points here, but like you have to read on. Like
Yes.
you can't just read like you can't read the back cover on this one. Like you should delve a little bit deeper, because the further you read, the more it's like, oh, he's fucking insane. Okay.
Coming to the conclusion that Bin Laden hated us because we could vote and had some level of freedom of expression, that is the dumbest, most white supremacist argument you can make, and is an obvious example of Islamophobia.
So the first thing I saw was this dude named Comrade Casey. Comrade Casey says, Ethan Klein has never heard of historical analysis. And I'm thinking, like, we can analyze it all we want. That's his literal words. Like, he's just like, I hate Jewish people and I want to kill people who have freedoms, who aren't following Sharia law all the time. And they're like, well, what did he really mean by that? It's obnoxious, but this isn't actually the most obnoxious. Then comes...
Then what, Ethan? Then what? Sorry, I was having mental, so much psychic damage was taken from like remembering. I forgot about it. My brain, to protect me from the trauma, wiped my own memory of the entire Osama bin Laden thing. Like, I literally forgot. I was like, oh, yeah, no, that didn't happen. And then watching it again where he's like, Osama bin Laden, obviously he did what he did because he hates America and freedom. And he loves killing people who like freedom. It's like, how do you remember how to breathe? How do you remember to like drink water and eat food and walk? What is going on, dude?
everybody's favorite, Frogan. So here I am saying, actually, Osama bin Laden bad. And her response was, this motherfucker never shuts up. Oh, my God.
I mean, it's still iconic, dude.
You could shut
She
up.
did like spit too hard. She spit so hard that he like still hasn't recovered.
It was this collection of leftists on Twitter giving a correct analysis for what transpired 23 years earlier that officially...
That's it. They're officially canceled guys. James 48 gassed.
Yes, correct. Yep. Mm-hmm. Rohawk, thank you for the 20 months. Serious OG, thank you for the prime. Thank you, guys.
Officially marked the beginning of Ethan Klein's public hatred for socialists. Someone who a year earlier described himself as a socialist, or at least socialist adjacent, had now reached a point where he hates most socialists and thinks of them all as terrorism, simping anti-Semites.
So anyway, here's what I says. Why I hate most socialists. Let's take a look at Deprogram, one of the most popular socialist subreddits, and a show frequented by Hassan, These are the guys who said all Israelis are valid military targets, including babies, just by the nature of existing and being born there. So let's see what they're up to on election day.
Ethan Klein was quite public about his hatred for woke socialists, but whenever mentioning this, made sure to include that he doesn't feel that way about Hassan.
I haven't watched the whole thing. It's long as fucking. I generally don't like watching videos like this because it's usually depressing. And it seems to have like a neutral title, but I think everybody noticed as they were watching through it, even Hassan, I think, commented on it, that this video is a little fucking weird.
Yeah.
You mentioned you had watched it.
Unironically, this video from the video that North Star, aka Comrade Casey, produced, the original video. For anyone who doesn't know, we're watching this video from Comrade Casey right now. And he made this video 2 months ago. Wait, I went too far back, sorry. Here it is, over here. Why the H3 Leftovers podcast will never return. He made this video 3 months ago. And it was a very good video, okay? Hassan also called it good in like the first 30 seconds. Yeah. It was a very fair, very good video. And it was a good video that, like, if Ethan Klein was smart, he easily could have used it to his advantage to win people back over. He could have watched it and been like, you know, honestly, yeah. I think the video is a little mean. Guys, I do think it's a little mean, and I don't agree with everything in here, and I have a lot of disagreements with the video, but yeah, I do think, like, I got a little too caught up in this, and I want Leftovers to come back, and I recognize how I could have, someone from my position, someone from my privilege, someone with my history and background and stuff, I could be more sympathetic to these causes, and it was a learning opportunity, and I do think I flubbed it a little. Do you know how much people would have fucking simped for Ethan Klein if he did that? If he watched this original video, and the original video basically criticizes Ethan Klein for being very unsympathetic to Gaza and just like weirdly defending Israel in instances it doesn't make sense to defend Israel. He easily could have taken this video as an opportunity to like rehabilitate his image a little bit, to PR himself a little bit, and just like mask on or whatever. I don't fucking know. Mask on, mask off, and be like, no, I was very close to this situation, and I know people who were personally harmed by some of these attacks, and I know friends and family members who were either personally involved or very close to the October 7th attacks, and it's a very personal subject for me. But I also think that, you know, and I've been open about this, about Israel doing this and this and this and this, and I always want to learn more. If he did that, oh my God, everyone would have glazed him, dude. Everyone would have glazed the fuck out of him. They would have been glazing him so hard. Oh. But instead, he took it as an opportunity to like double, triple, quadruple down forever. And then this is like the video that broke. I'm pretty sure Comrade Casey is like the reason why Ethan Klein he crashed out. This is the reason why it just like, it all fell apart for him. Lola, thank you for the prime. Thank you. It's sad. It's just sad. It's just sad. I feel like I could go back and watch again if he ever did that, but unfortunately he only knows how to double down. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I saw the whole thing. It is biased towards Hassan, right? It's all about how you kind of screwed everything up. And pretty much the core of the video is that you became like a debate pervert who then challenged Hassan and lost.
Even Hassan was getting like frustrated watching it, and he was confused, and he's like, this is fucking weird.
Yeah, Hassan didn't like the video at all, from what I recall. He thought it was weird, and the more it went on, the more he kind of like disliked it.
Oh, I gotta go.
Which, I don't think this was what happened.
I gotta finish. I'll finish this tomorrow. I gotta do the podcast. Personal news-wise, I ended the broadcast. We watched a YouTube video that was really good, and I highly recommend you guys check it out. It's by Comrade Casey in the chat, also known as, I believe, North Star Radio. Is that what it is? Is that what his YouTube name is? I forget.
It seems to me that this guy's the exact
Classic hating a video. He was mad at chat? Yeah. He was just mad at chat for being parasocial. He did say some of the video was annoying, but no, he didn't hate it. Yeah. Which I think is important to do. I mean, I call chat out for being parasocial. I do it all the time. Because I think you have to, like, your chat is at least a little bit a reflection of you as a streamer. To some extent, to some degree. And you are responsible to some extent, to some degree, for your audience. Not every single person in your audience, but for most people in your audience, right? Or at least the attitude in your audience, right? And I think content creators, I think streamers especially, have a responsibility to curb parasocial behavior. And it's something that I think most streamers don't do enough of. Because it's kind of an uncomfortable conversation and you kind of alienate people. And you have to choose to do it anyways. Because it's fucked up. Because as a content creator, the parasocial fans are the best fans to have. Because they're the most diehard. They're the people who will defend you regardless of what you do. Like, they will fight your battles for you. But also, once your audience just becomes exclusively that, because all the normal people just don't fuck with it, you end up having a really weird, shitty audience. You have a really weird, shitty audience. That's like kind of cultish. Yeah. But I try to do it despite Asmongold then. I mean, I think Asmongold's chat is a little bit like this. I don't think he curbs the parasocial behavior in his chat at all. Which is why he's like the Lich King of like incels. As your friend, I would never be weird and parasocial, bestie. Which is why also I say things like on stream all the time of like, try not to like comment on people's personal lives, or like I try not to comment on like Ethan Klein's like family or whatever. Like I will criticize Hila, who gets on camera and says stupid shit and racist shit. I'll criticize her, and I think you should be able to criticize her. I think if she says something on the internet with a platform, if you are someone with a platform who says stuff online, you open yourself to criticism. But like, I would never say anything about like their kids. I will say Ethan Klein is unbelievably mentally unwell to have a family and then choose to be this terminally online. But I'm not going to call him a bad dad because that feels weird, or say that he doesn't spend enough time with his family because that seems weird. And that's very parasocial. And like, I don't know his relationship with his family. And that's bizarre to say. I will say, if you have a wife and kids and millions of dollars that you're sitting on, and you're not choosing to spend most of your time with your family, you're mentally ill. I would never do. I already don't spend enough time on the computer. Like literally, once I end stream, I turn this shit off. I hop in a Discord with friends, and then we just play video games all night. I don't scroll Instagram looking for comments or videos or reels about me. I don't search my name in Twitter. I don't go through YouTube videos. Like, I don't want to do that. That's a bad way to live. That's like, that is being mentally unwell, which Ethan Klein very clearly is mentally unwell because he searches himself on Twitter, screenshots it, writes out whole ass replies, and then posts it to his Instagram story. That's weird. You are weird to do that. Digital self-harm? Correct. Exactly. The most online thing I do once a year is maybe stream something in the Discord where we all watch like Arcane together. And that's just spending time with my community. That's not even being weird. Like, so I will insult him on that front, but I do try and like curb, and I try and get other people to curb parasocial stuff. And it is you have to do it frequently. And you have to make sure to really drive home the point that you don't want anyone in the audience to be parasocial. Because once you end up with a parasocial audience, you get like weird comments of people being like, oh, like I bet Ethan Klein secretly was like harassing Hassan and he was probably secretly doing this. And you're just getting in too deep. You're getting in too deep. Way too deep. There's enough public Ethan Klein crash outs. You can make fun of those. You don't have to speculate on what could be possibly happening in the back. He said enough stupid shit online. You could just insult that shit. You can just make fun of that shit, dude, all right? Which is what I like to do because I think it's very funny. Can you be parasocial in like a healthy way? It's like a fine line to walk, but pretty. I mean, I'm parasocial about some people, but I'm parasocial in like the, oh, I love when this person posts pictures and I love to see their cosplays. Oh, and they're so talented. I love your cosplays. White people happy. You know, like I think I think there is like an okay level. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being you're insane. You can engage in like a level 2 of parasocial where you're excited when someone streams or you're excited when they post or you're excited when they put out new merch and you want to buy the new merch or you want to be part of something like bigger than yourself because that just feels more like, it feels less like parasocial behavior and it feels more like wanting to belong to a community and wanting to engage with your hobbies in something. That's just like, it is still, I think, a little parasocial, but it's like an acceptable level that's just bringing you joy and happiness. Once you're at the point where you're like becoming mad on the internet because your favorite streamer isn't doing enough of this or that, or you're really mad because your favorite streamer hates this other person, so you really hate this other person. No. No, you should not be bringing upon yourself mental instability. You've gone too far. You've gone too far. And I do think, like, unfortunately, also when your audience gets really big, it becomes harder and harder to manage your audience and like curb behaviors in your audience. And I do think Hassan, at least a little bit, his audience is a little big to curb it very well, like, or to curb the vast majority. And there are a good number of people that are parasocial in there. And that sucks. When Sam Cedar annoyed Mike from PA, I got a little upset, I admit. Yeah. Like I said, it's like, you're allowed, I think, like, think about it the way that people think about like sports teams. Like you're happy when they win, you're sad when they lose, but you don't like build your life identity about, or like you don't revolve your life around that. You don't build your identity around that, right? Like you'll cheer them on. Maybe you'll even go to like a stadium and watch them play. Maybe you'll buy like a jersey or something. But like you agree, the guy who just lost his home on fantasy football has gone too far. You've gone too far. Whereas the guy who like puts on face makeup and goes to sports events and has fun, that's not too far. That's like, you just really like this. This is just your this is your hyperfixation. That's okay. Okay? That's okay. That's okay. You've never met sports fans? No, that's my point. That's my point. I'm saying like parasocial behavior online is exactly like sports behavior online, where there is an acceptable range and there is an area where it is too far. And there are sports fans that go way too far about athletes who have nothing to do with them, who don't even know who they are, where it's like an obsession, where you're like getting in bar fights because your guy lost or because someone insulted your, like a LeBron James or something, Messi, I don't know, some sports person, people like, no, you should not be getting into physical altercations because someone said something mean about someone you like to watch play. That's bad, actually. Like, dude, you're, bro. Hold on, I do anything for my man Braun, though. Is the difference between being a fan and fanatic? Yeah. And I do think that there is some like some similarities there with like content creation. Right? And I think Ethan he's gone like he's gone insane. He's gone insane. He's gone insane. And you never want to go full Ethan Klein. You never want to. You never want to. If you ever catch yourself getting too heated about people who don't know you personally and you don't know them personally, you should take a step back and be like, actually, I want to go play some Minecraft or something. All right, actually, this is weird. This is weird. This is weird. I'm going to go grab some dinner, maybe talk to some family members, have some fun, chillax, go do something fun, all right? All right. Sometimes that you have to, they don't know you, little bro, yourself. Exactly.
Ethan Klein zoot on that Galaxy Gas FRFR no cap.
I don't know what that means, but FRFR no cap. I don't know what Galaxy Gas is, but FRFR no cap. So anyways, yeah. Guybrush, thank you so much for the 4 months. Thanks. Let's get back to the video. We're almost done. In Denim's classic fashion, I paused the video 20 seconds before it's up.
Sort of awful person Ethan was talking about that is within Hassan's community. And again, I'll say Hassan's video didn't have really any nasty comments. So
Galaxy Gas is whippets. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know anything about white culture. Jesus. I'm sorry, okay?
I am definitely talking about people like this who are not in his comment section, though.
But Ethan could only keep that lie for so long.
Part 2 coming soon. Okay, in classic denim fashion, there was like 10 seconds left and then I stopped. I feel called out. Stop. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't. They sell whippets at my tobacco store now. It's weird as fuck. I feel like once you're at the point where you're doing whippets, like, dude, just go do okay.
Have you ever had laughing gas at the dentist? That's the same as whippets.
Just you're a little bit more respectable, man. Fuck, dude. Yeah, dude. I personally love to make fun of people who are zinners. I know, Chad, I know 3 zinners in my personal life. 3. And like I can hear them on mic when we're hanging out playing games. I can hear the can open. They pop one in, the can closes. It all is coming through on the mic. I was hanging out with a friend in real life and they're like, wait, can we pass by a store? I was like, yeah, what do you need? I can just DoorDash. They're like, no, can we pass by a store? I was like, okay. They're like, I need to get some Zin. Like, okay. Of all the people that I know of, I think Hassan has been the most respectable Zinner because he actually switched from smoking to like, I think nicotine gum to now Zin. And to be honest, if you're getting off of cigarettes, and Zin is what helps you get off of cigarettes.
You're not 18 anymore. Go do drugs like a real grown-ass adult.
Great. Very happy for you. Very, very happy for you. That's really cool. Because smoking is so bad for you. Like, it's just so bad for you that, like, if you can, even if you take Zins for the rest of your life, we know what some of the side effects of nicotine are. Like, nicotine in general isn't good for your heart. But if it can get you to stop smoking, at least you're, like, stopping the lung damage. So, fucking amazing. Perfect. Great. I don't know how easy it is to quit Zins. But, yeah. And also, in terms of quitting something... in terms of being addicted, at least being addicted to Zins, you don't have to deal with as many mood fluctuations as smokers do, because you don't have to go somewhere that is a smoking-only zone. which is pretty cool. With all that in mind, the other 3 people I know in my life who are Zinners, none of them were smokers beforehand. None of them. All of that was to say, I do laugh at people who are Zinners, okay? I think that is really, I think it is cringe, okay? I think you're cooked. I think when you're at the point when you are not a smoker or a vapor and you switch to Zinning, or you just have never done nicotine and then you decided to become addicted to Zins, you're so cooked, and I will laugh at you in a friendly fashion, the way that I allow other people to laugh at me for enjoying certain video games that are bad. And that's still more respectable in my brain than being addicted to whippets, or even just doing whippets. Like, I'd rather know you got some Zin towers than know that you're whipping it out of control.